Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1849B, and today's date is April 23rd, 2019, and the title of the episode is Last Resort Activated, No Blockade equals Game Over, Tock. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about the threats nowadays in America, especially with the caravans bombarding the border. One of the best things you can invest in for your home protection is a Patriot flashlight. And why not purchase one of the best flashlights on the market? It has life-saving emergency strobe lights. You can charge your phone anywhere, anytime, with a USB port. Other features include compass, rope, wire cutter, solar-powered recharging, high and low beam LED modes, glass-breaking hammer. Limited supplies last, and this is the very last chance you can get yours at a discount before they sell out. Purchase the best flashlight on the market and get 20% off when you use the code X20. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are completely trapped at this point. I mean, it's truly game over. Their blockade is completely gone. And right now, they're confused. They don't agree on certain issues, and they don't agree on the path forward. And this is going to be a problem for them. But it doesn't mean that there aren't certain elements within the deep state where they're still pushing a last resort. I do believe the last resort has been activated, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment. But first, Judicial Watch. They announced that Bill Priestap, Assistant Director of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, admitted in writing and under oath that the FBI found Hillary Clinton's emails in the Obama White House, specifically the executive office of the president. The FBI has also admitted that almost 49,000 of Hillary Clinton's emails were reviewed as a result of a search warrant for emails found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Now, thanks to Judicial Watch, in January, a federal court ordered discovery of Hillary Clinton's emails and Benghazi scandal. Judge Royce Lamberth ordered top Obama and Hillary officials such as Susan Rice, Ben Rhodes, and other state and FBI officials to answer Judicial Watch's questions under oath. Now, this is from Judicial Watch. Priestap was asked by Judicial Watch to identify representatives of Hillary Clinton, her former staff, and government agencies from which email repositories were obtained. Priestap responded with the following non-exhaustive list: Brian Pagliano, Cheryl Mills, Executive Office of the President, emphasis added; Heather Samuelson, Jacob Sullivan, Justin Cooper, United States Department of State, United States Secret Service, Williams and Connolly LLP. Priestap also testifies that 48,982 emails were reviewed as a result of a warrant for Clinton email account information from the laptop of Anthony Weiner, who had been married to top Clinton aide Huma Abedin. Now, Priestap, he helped oversee the Clinton email investigation and made sure she was exonerated, then migrated over to the 2016 counter-intel investigation into Trump's campaign. Tom Fitton tweeted out the following: "This is astonishing confirmation made under oath by the FBI shows that the Obama FBI had to go to President Obama's White House office to find emails that Hillary Clinton tried to destroy or hide from the American public." He continued, "No wonder Hillary Clinton has thus far skated. Barack Obama is implicated in her email scheme." Wow, we're getting a lot more information now. And we're seeing a lot more things happen when the blockade is gone. The entire investigation led by Mueller was based on the dossier, and it was used to block everything that we are seeing today. And we know that the dossier was fake, and we know that it was used to start the investigation, it was used to get the FISA warrants. It was used for all of this. And if we go back and rewind here to the start of all this, it turns out that all of it is completely fake. Tom Fitton tweets out, "Even Mueller says dossier used to obtain spy warrants against @RealDonaldTrump campaign was verified, and unverified is all caps. The dossier falsehood is central to the criminal conspiracy targeting Donald Trump. Now, the mainstream media, for 2 years, they've been trying to convince the American people that there was Russian collusion. Then they moved to obstruction because people on Mueller's team informed them that Mueller couldn't find the Russian collusion because it never existed. So they tried to create an obstruction case within Mueller's investigation, and that failed. And Trump tweeted out the following: "I wonder if the New York Times will apologize to me a second time, as they did after the 2016 election. But this one will have to be far bigger and better apology. On this one, they will have to get down on their knees and beg for forgiveness. They are truly the enemy of the people." Now think about it. The mainstream media, for 2 years, especially the New York Times, has been telling everyone that Trump committed collusion, that he was a criminal, and they continually pushed this narrative all the way up to the Mueller report. And they did blockbuster articles on how Trump was going down. And it turns out it's all fake, phony, and false. Now, Judicial Watch, they are going after Representative Adam Schiff and Representative Jackie Speer because they both disclosed classified information. And this is in violation of House ethic rules. Now, this is what Judicial Watch wrote. On March 21st, 2017, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Representative Adam Schiff, spoke to an audience at the Brookings Institution in which he commented on an intelligence community intercept of a December 29, 2016 conversation between Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and retired U.S. Army General Michael Flynn, who had been selected by then-President-elect Donald Trump to serve as a national security advisor. Both the fact of the conversation and the conversation's contents were leaked to the news media and reported widely. In his Brookings Institution speech, Representative Schiff stated, "And then you have leaks that expose malfeasance or illegality. Now, I put that kind of leak, I put the Flynn leak in that category. And what was most disturbing to me, frankly, about that was, here you had a situation where the president is informed that his national security advisor has lied to the vice president and probably others about a conversation with Russians over sanctions imposed over hacking in the election to help the president." Likewise, on April 3, 2017, quotes from Representative Jackie Speer as commenting publicly on both the contents of Kislyak-Flynn conversations and Flynn's subsequent unmasking as a U.S. person incidentally intercepted by the intelligence community. Now, if in fact it was unmasked and if it was General Flynn, you have to understand the context in which it was unmasked. We do know that Ambassador Kislyak and General Flynn were freelancing sanctions relief at the end of December, when he had no portfolio in which to make any kind of negotiations with Ambassador Kislyak, emphasis added. Like Representative Schiff, Representative Speer did not disclose how she knew about the conversation between Ambassador Kislyak and General Flynn or about General Flynn's unmasking, but the statement attributed to her also appears to confirm the contents of leaked classified information. So Judicial Watch concludes by asking the Office of Congressional Ethics conduct a preliminary investigation into whether Schiff and Speer disclosed classified information to the public in violation of House ethics rules. And Tom Fitton continued and said, "While the Ethics Committee examines Representative Nunes' innocuous statements on Obama's surveillance on the Trump team, it ought to expand its investigation to include the other members of the Intelligence Committee who seem to have flagrantly violated the rules." So Judicial Watch going after Clinton, Judicial Watch going after Schiff, and this is continuing. Now think about what's happening right now. We have Huber, we have Horowitz, we have the D-Class, we have all the evidence that Tom Fitton has gathered. You don't think the government is going to be using all of this evidence to go after these individuals? Absolutely. Now, down on the border, we understand that Trump is building the wall. He's stopping the illegals from coming into this country, and he is making the deep state, the Dems, completely sweat it out. And we need to understand something very, very important about this whole illegal immigrant thing that's going on at the border. When Trump threatened to release these illegal immigrants into America's sanctuary cities last week, the media and the Dems went bonkers. They didn't know what to do. And they were out there saying, no, you can't do this. It's against the law. So the scheme may not pass legal muster. It was pure genius as a political ploy. The mere mention of this possibility caused many individuals to come out and say, you can't do this. Cher was out there, and she tweeted out that this is completely impossible. How are we going to let more people in when we can't even take care of our own people? And of course, Trump came out and tweeted, said, this is the first time I'm agreeing with Cher. Democrats believed if he couldn't build the wall, his base would turn on him, making 2020 a much easier proposition for the blue team. But that doesn't fully explain the Democrats' outright refusal to even acknowledge the primary cause of this country's current border security problems. Remember, they don't even want to do anything about it. Their motives are far more sinister than just despising Trump. And everything that they're trying to do is backfiring. Now, thanks to the 14th Amendment, which dictates the mechanics of how the president is elected, as well as the Supreme Court's ruling in Evenwell versus Abbott, Democrats are using illegal immigration to alter the balance of power in the Electoral College, from rural Republican-leaning states to those that are predominantly blue and in some cases purple. A quick glance at the 20 metro areas with the largest numbers of illegal aliens confirms this. And if we look at post 2764, going back to February 17th, 2019, there was a map which was a GIF that overlaid the connections between illegals and the Democrat states in 2016 election. And when you do the overlay with this GIF, it fits absolutely perfectly. Now, if we take this map and we go to Pew Research with the 20 metro areas with the largest number of illegal aliens, it confirms everything that Q has been saying. So illegal immigrants aren't allowed to directly vote for the commander-in-chief, but they can do it illegally by pretending there's someone else or nobody checking, and this is what the Democrats have used before. But if there's voter IDs, this makes it a little bit difficult. But we also have another problem. In vast numbers, they can dramatically alter the Electoral College to favor the Democrats for at least a decade, because a state's electoral votes are based on the number of people residing within that state, not the number of citizens present when the census is taken. So think about that for a second. Before, the Democrats, the deep state, they were using these illegals to increase the popular vote. And this is why we saw Clinton come out with 3 million more votes, because at the time there were 3 million illegals led into this country. Actually, we don't even know how many are actually in this country. There's most likely a lot more. Now, since they can't use the popular vote because everyone will be checking now, and of course we know that Trump and the Patriots, they are checking all this, all they have to do is change the structure of each state and push the population over to their side. So they would then have the popular vote, which they could do illegally, and they would control the Electoral College. Why do you think they've been pushing the idea to get rid of the Electoral College? Because Trump is blocking the illegals from coming into this country. They were going to try to use this to alter the election results. Now, Judicial Watch, once again, they have teamed up with the Allied Educational Foundation, and they teamed up on February 11, 2019, urging it to overturn the ruling of the United States District Court of the Southern District of New York, blocking the Secretary of Commerce from adding a question about citizenship to the 2020 census. The brief argues that including a citizenship question would help Judicial Watch and the government make sure only eligible citizens are on the voting rolls. Adding a citizenship question to the census would generate a massive amount of new data concerning the numbers of citizens and non-citizens in U.S. states and counties. To quibble about potential limitations in the data that would be collected is to miss the point. It cannot be the case that we are somehow better off with less information. The mountain of new data generated by the census questions will assist private litigants and the Department of Justice in their efforts to enforce the National Voter Registration Act. Indeed, this data will overcome limitations identified by a federal court concerning the current data of citizenship. Now, think about this for a second. If we go back to Q's post 3049, this was back in March 13th of 2019, Q says, if D's fight to protect, safeguard, and promote all illegal immigrants as rightful U.S. citizens who should be afforded all benefits and rights accordingly, why then would they fight to block them from being counted as part of the U.S. Census? What would the data show? It would show there's a lot more people in this country that are here illegally. All that matters is power. Welcome to the D Party Con. If we move to post 3071, March 14th, 2019. 6 companies control 90% of the mainstream media. Vote to allow illegal immigrants right to vote in elections. Push talking points, i.e. voter age should decrease from 18 to 16. No wall, open borders, all welcome equals more D votes. Deny proper counting, U.S. Census. Avoid public knowledge, real illegal population to avoid voter fraud, percentage risk to elections. Welcome to the D Party. Now, the U.S. Supreme Court, they are looking at this and they are saying, you know something? We're siding with Trump right now. So the key justices seemed inclined to let the Trump administration add a question about citizenship to the 2020 census. The Constitution requires that the government survey all persons living in the United States each decade. Until 1950, the census regularly asked about citizenship. However, it was discontinued out of fears that it would harm participation, which is absolutely ridiculous, because we ask these questions when these individuals go for aid, food stamps, driver's license, and everything else. Why would this deter someone from participating? It wouldn't. They use this to keep their power. So Trump, he has issued a memorandum and he is cracking down on illegal aliens overstaying their visas. And this is what the memorandum says. Non-immigrant visas overstay rates are unacceptably high for nationals of certain countries. Aliens must abide by the terms and conditions of their visas for our immigration system to function as intended. Individuals who abuse the visa process and decline to abide by the terms and conditions of the visas, including their visa's departure dates, undermine the integrity of our immigration system and harm the national interest. So think about this. He is pushing his agenda to block all the exits for the deep state. The wall is going up. Illegals are being stopped from entering this country. They're not being allowed to be sent to these certain areas to push the Electoral College in a certain direction or to have these individuals vote in a popular vote. The central bank is not getting these illegals either. He's blocking all of this, and it's being done on purpose. Post 2855. They will stop at nothing to regain power. Time to adopt voter ID law. And he's right, they will not stop. Because right now, we see that the Dems, they're pushing to throw Trump off the 2020 ballot in 18 states. Think about what that will do. Republican State Senator Dale Ryder noted that there have been 2 Supreme Court rulings that would make a measure such as this unconstitutional. He cited Anderson v. Celebres in 1983 and Williams v. Rhodes in 1968, where SCOTUS ruled that it is illegal and unconstitutional for states to alter national ballot qualifications as the Democrats are trying to accomplish with their arbitrary power grab. This is, quite frankly, with all due respect to the sponsor, an embarrassing waste of the Senate's time, Reiter said. Yes, that's what they're trying to do, but it's completely illegal, but they don't care. Why? Because they are desperate. So as you can see, the D Party is desperate. They're trying everything to make sure they have power to win any way they possibly can, even if it's illegal, which they're doing. What are they doing? They're bringing in illegals. Blocked. Have them vote illegally. Blocked. Having the illegals change the Electoral College votes. Blocked. They're trying to bring down the voting age from 18 to 16. Not going to happen. The Senate was the key. Bernie Sanders wants prisoners to vote. Not going to happen. They're trying to push Trump out of many states as possible. It's completely illegal. Think about all the things they're trying to do. They are so desperate right now. And it just doesn't stop with the illegals and voting. They know that Trump and the Patriots have everything. They have everything about Clinton, email, Uranium One, who spied on who. That's coming from the D class, the OIG report, and many, many other sealed indictments that are going to be unsealed. Now, the DNC head, they pledged the committee won't use hacked emails or stolen data for political gain ahead of the 2020 presidential election, and pressed the RNC to do the same. Think about what they're doing right now. They know what Trump and the Patriots hold. They have all that information. We know the Russians didn't hack the DNC. We know that Assange worked with Seth Rich. They got the information. The Patriots have the source. Assange is going to spill all this information out. And the DNC, they're nervous. They're saying, yeah, don't use that. And we won't use what we have. They don't have anything. They know the Patriots have everything. And they know if that is put out there, the D class, the OIG report, everything with Uranium One, it's game over for them. This is how desperate they have gotten. Now, Kamala Harris, she's out there with Swalwell. They're both campaigning for gun control. And she says, upon being elected, which will never happen, I will give the United States Congress 100 days to get their act together and have the courage to pass reasonable gun safety laws. And if they fail to do it, then I will take executive action. Well, first of all, you know what they're trying to do. Yes, they're starting off with semi-automatic weapons, but you know that's going to then move into shotguns and everything else. They always start for the big guns, and then they come down and get rid of everything else afterwards. And they're still pushing the same agenda. They haven't changed. They still believe they have a chance, but they're all going down. We see out in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, they're making the final stages and preparations to meet with Putin, and Russia, they are preparing to accept and host Kim Jong-un. They haven't given any dates yet, but we see Dmitry Peskov has confirmed that the two are going to meet. We see out in Libya, Haftar has announced their second phase of the Tripoli offensive, and it looks like it's just a matter of days before the UN coalition government that they put together and the people didn't even vote for, they are going to be coming to an end. And the people then are going to control their country. Think about what is happening right now. Everything is falling apart for the deep state. What Trump is doing right now in the Middle East and everywhere else, he is reversing Obama's foreign policies. He's making it impossible for his successor to go back to where we were. Everyone believes that he doesn't know what he's doing. No, he's doing all of this on purpose. He's making sure the deep state can no longer do what they've been doing in the past. And he's shutting it all down. Let's go back to post 2494. Q says, nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. This election was not about fixing the economy, trade, borders, military, protecting our children, etc. Also, another corrupt politician or insider can simply undo it. Band-Aid, brackets, bold. This was not simply another 4-year election, but a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. So they are setting it up to make sure that there's no insider, no deep state operative, nobody can go ahead and become elected and reverse everything that the patriots are doing. That's why this plan is very complex, where we're not just going after arrests and saying, "Yay, look, we did it." No, there's many moving parts to this, and it has to be done correctly. And you can see it is being done. Now, I know Q talks about the last resort, and we know that there was a shooting in New Zealand on a mosque. Then we had in Sri Lanka a bombing at a church, and we know that these are false flags. And what's very interesting is we had the first attack in New Zealand. Now, this had many different agendas associated with it, and those gun control nuts went along and said, listen, we need to do the same thing that New Zealand is doing. But there's something else that was brewing underneath the surface to all of this. Because first there was attack on a mosque. Then there was an attack on a church, on Christians. We know that Clinton, Obama, and many others said they were Easter worshipers. That was code to say, okay, it's on. And what I mean by this is it looks like they're trying to start some type of an event with Muslims and Christians, because the Islamic State, they came out and they took responsibility for bombing the church in Sri Lanka. Now, we need to ask the following questions. Who created the Islamic State? The clowns. Who supported the Islamic State? The clowns. Yes, and Obama and all those individuals. Who wants revenge? Because what happened? Trump came in, Russia came in, and got rid of the Islamic State in Syria and removed everything they had in place. The clowns, they want revenge. Who wants a war to distract for what is coming? Clinton, Obama, clowns, Brennan, and the rest of the gang. Look what they are planning to do. The mosque gets hit. The Islamic State retaliates against a Christian. If this continues, what happens next? And the question we have to ask, is this the last resort? Is this what they're trying to push? And if they start spreading this to different countries and continually push this agenda, what would be the outcome? It would be countries going to war between Muslims and Christians. Think back in history. Haven't we seen this before? Again, what are they trying to do? They're trying to divide the people. Q has been telling us about this for a very long time. And it looks like this might be the last resort, or there might be something else coming, but it looks like they sure are trying to push this agenda. Now, Bill Clinton tweeted out something very interesting. He said, the great biologist E.O. Wilson says ants, termites, bees, and people are the most successful species because they're the best cooperators. Now, he went on to say that this hashtag Earth Day, let's renew our commitment to working together as we explore new ways to protect our planet for future generations. Now, think about ants, bees. There's a queen bee that they report to. They work to support the one queen. So, in other words, do as you are programmed and paid to do. Do not question authority. And many of the Anons believe that this is a code out there telling those individuals, do what you're supposed to do. Do not question it. And it looks like we might see something else headed our way. Now, Hillary Clinton was out there. She was discussing the roadmap to impeachment and says Trump should have been indicted by Mueller's probe. And she said something very interesting. Hillary Clinton said this, and think mirror why I'm saying this. Actions that undermine the integrity of our government, that place the personal or political interest of a president over the interests of the nation. Didn't Obama, Clinton, and the rest do this? She's talking about herself. She also said it was not worth pursuing the Trump impeachment with the do-nothing Senate. So what she really means is that they do not have control of the Senate, and the Senate needs a 2/3 vote. And it's not going to happen. The impeachment is not going to happen. Remember, the Senate was the key. And she's talking about herself. They know what's coming. They understand that if this continues, it is game over. They have nothing left except the last resort. They have nothing left they can use. And this is why we see these distractions. Because I do believe they're building up for a major distraction, because once the D-class comes, once the OIG report comes out, once the sealed indictments become unsealed, they're exposed. Everyone will know what they did, and they can't hide. The only thing left for them to do is to have an event to distract from what is coming. And I believe Q and the Patriots, they already planned for this. They already know what they're trying to do. And a lot of times Q and the Patriots, they let it play out. And they force them in certain directions to trap them. And I believe this is the strategy that they're going to use. Because what better way is there than to push your enemy in the direction you want them to go? Oh, I want them to use ammunition. I will give a date. It will be the wrong date, and they'll use that ammunition up. Oh, I want them to create this event so something else will happen. And Q has been doing this quite often. And I believe this has all been planned for. And the deep state, they have nothing else to do except to have their last event. And I believe this is what they're going to try to push, to try to distract from what is coming. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.